Hello and welcome to Acoustic Review. My name is Ben Morgan Brown and today I'm looking at the Entourage CW QIT from Seagull Guitars. Seagull guitars are based and manufactured in Canada, where they're a division of Godin Guitars. They use some native tone woods and they also manufacture their own pickups. And the pickup that's included in this guitar is one of their own QIT systems. The Entourage features a solid spruce top, laminated wild cherry back and sides, a silverleaf maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard, and a nut width of 1.72 inches. The scale length is 24.84 inches, and the nut and the saddle are both made of tusk. The guitar has a semi-gloss finish, and features shallow strap locks, and comes in at an RRP of $499. The Entourage is a round-shouldered dreadnought shape, which are known for their balanced tone, so let's have a listen to the guitar now and see if that matches up with our expectations. My first impression of the guitar is that it's quite a down-to-earth looking guitar, although it is very elegant. The sunburst is lovely, in fact. You can still see lots of the grain through the burst. The semi-gloss finish is actually quite a satin finish. It's almost matte looking to my eye, but I don't think that detracts from the look of the guitar at all. The instrument's definitely got its own personality, particularly the headstock, which is very distinctive, which immediately stands out to the eye. The build quality and fit and finish are probably as good as it gets at this price point, I think. Though I did notice on the inside of the guitar there was a few spots that sort of hadn't been sanded totally smooth, but that is a minor point, I suppose. The outside of the guitar is almost flawless. The finish is very well applied all over. There's a little bit of pitting on the back, but that is to be expected with a satin finish, and although the satin finish is very evenly distributed, it does also show finger marks quite easily too. Aesthetically, the guitar has a very unified look. I particularly liked the fact that the subtle sunburst on the back of the neck matches the sunburst on the front of the guitar as well. However, I do feel that personally a slightly warmer looking binding would match the overall aesthetic of the guitar. It's a little bit stark looking at the moment, but that might age as the guitar does, and you might prefer the whiter look yourself, so I wouldn't take that as a strong criticism of the look. The tone of the guitar is very balanced, with a slight bias towards the mids and the trebles. The low end is definitely there, and it's actually very satisfying to kind of really hit that low string, because I think the round-shouldered dreadnoughts tend to have a little less headroom than a square-shouldered dreadnought. So that means you can drive the guitar a little bit easier into the sweet spot. So it's very, as I say, satisfying to kind of hit those low strings and get all the power that you can out of the guitar. However, if you're a particularly heavy-handed player, you might find the combination of body size and scale length would mean that the guitar would bottom out a little bit and you wouldn't quite get as much power from the low strings as you would want. Overall, though, it's a very satisfying guitar to play, and actually, I have to say, surprisingly good sounding for its price point. The built-in QIT pickup was surprisingly pleasant for a piezo-based system. Didn't have too many of the kind of unpleasant high-end content that you sometimes do get with an undersaddle pickup. And the low end was very full and very rich, but possibly actually a little bit too rich. If you're going to be playing through a loud PA system, you might want to tame down the low end a little bit. But the preamp does have a bass control on that, and on the recording I had that set at midway, so there's lots of scope to take bass out of that sound if you want to. The guitar is really easy to play with a nice low action. And the D-shaped neck is comfortable if you're playing with your thumb on the back of the neck, or if you're bringing your thumb over the top as well. Particularly if you're a thumb over the top player, I think you'd appreciate the rolled edges of the fingerboard, which make the neck feel very comfortable. There's no sharp edges at the edge of the fingerboard at all. The sub 25-inch scale length gives the guitar a very slinky feel. You don't really have to put a lot of effort in to push the strings down. That combined with a good size fret means that the guitar is actually quite nice for bending and lead playing as well if you were going to play that sort of style. I think this guitar is a really good all-rounder. It took finger picking well, it took strumming well. I think you could play lead lines on it well too. I think it's actually a very good workhorse guitar, which kind of sounds like I'm putting it down a little bit, but I think you could really make some good music with this guitar live and in the studio, and also be nice to write on too. It's a very comfortable body shape and scale length to play. Sometimes guitars at this price point can feel a little bit like a stopgap instrument between a beginner's guitar and your ultimate dream guitar. But I actually feel this guitar from Seagull punches above its weight a little bit and sits really well in a higher end bracket than its price would suggest. One thing I really like on this guitar is the distinctive look of the headstock. And I think actually because it's narrower and it does give a straighter string pull, that should help with tuning issues in the future as well, particularly when combined with the tusk saddle and the tusk nut. With an RRP of $499, I think this guitar represents excellent value for money. It's very hard to find anything to fault with it at that price. If I had to choose one thing, I probably would say that the onboard tuner could be a little bit more accurate. When we compared it to our tuner in the studio here, it was a little bit off on a couple of the high strings, but it was close enough to be using a performance. Just if you were using it for a recording, you might want to check with an external tuner as well. Having said that though, I think this guitar is brilliant actually. I was very pleasantly surprised by the way it played and the way it sounded, and it was a very, I'm going to use that word again, pleasant experience to play the guitar. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Acoustic Review. Please subscribe if you'd like to see all our future videos, and we look forward to seeing you next time.